All right. Welcome to live Q&A. I think this is session number 32. Yes, got to get that right. For watching this video, welcome. Thanks for tuning in, and hopefully we can answer some questions in the post. But always we like to start with some updates about what's going on with Elevate Yourself, business, personal, volleyball, all that good stuff. As you can see here, all these boxes, this is a huge mess. Now, why is it a big mess there? For those who've been reading the Patreon messages, I'm getting ready to do a clearance sale for all Elevate apparel. It's just been, it's just been a lot of work trying to manage apparel with not a lot of return. So, I'm at a point in my business where I'm trying to transfer into full-time Elevate. So the things I do either need to have a pretty strong investment in generating future revenue if I want to make a living off of this, or need to generate more revenue for the time that I spend. And I think I've hit maybe a kind of like a saturation of my own market. When I first launched Elevate Apparel, I think I was selling maybe like 10 to 20 pieces of apparel per month for the first couple of years. And especially since I would be releasing like a new design every 4 or 5 months. But that was probably for the first 3 years where it's pretty consistent sales. And since then, it's been dying down, maybe only 1 or 2 sales per month. And it just takes up so much inventory. And the trick is trying to not order too much apparel because it is expensive, right? I can't afford to order like 20,000 pieces per shirt, like 20,000 pieces, and then that brings the cost of the shirt by like $2 or $3 per shirt, and then sell it for $25, right? That's a really big profit margin. I can only afford to order 32 or 36 or 72 shirts at a time, where the shirts are 10 to $15 depending on the print um, demands. So decided to go direct to garment printing, which I think I've already talked about in a previous one, but that's where I'm at right now. We'll probably be launching to public for the clearance. So make sure you order your clearance discount. We get 50% off before I launch it to the public, where we'll probably sell out pretty fast. So I want to give you guys a heads up for that. Also, I rolled my ankle. I'm going to be making a video series. So I rolled my ankle about a month and a half, 2 months ago, pretty badly. And I'll probably make a post on my Patreon just so you guys can see the photos first about how bad the ankle roll is. But I've been rehabbing it, and I've been documenting my journey just to make sure that I use this as a chance to educate people on how to recover from ankle sprains. Unfortunately, I landed on somebody. Um, I haven't rolled my ankle in 10 years, and I like to credit all the training I've done for my own ankle and knee stability and improving hip mobility as well. But sometimes you can't help whether you land on somebody, right? If they go under the net or if you move. But I will like to credit my ankle injury prevention regimen for helping me recover pretty quickly relative to what most people would, based on the injury that you'll see in the video. It's pretty nasty. Like my whole ankle bent 90 degrees as I was landing on somebody. So I actually had an inside and outside sprain. It was pretty crazy. I sprained both sides somehow. And yeah, it hurt like shit. All right, let's get to the question in the post here. So this is from John David Rogers. He asked, do you have any tips for how to be more productive and less lazy, especially as an adult in the US with a full-time job? I feel like working 9 to 5 just eats into my day so much, and I barely have any time left at the end of it. On days I am free after 5 p.m., often I finish cooking, eating my dinner, and I have no energy left to get up and do anything, and I just want to sit on my couch and watch videos and just go to bed early. Yeah, that's a very, very common challenge, and I experienced that as well. Doing things after work are really challenging for most people because, when you're working, especially if you have a job where you're sitting all day, uh, working for that many hours, you're just mentally and physically taxed. Now, playing volleyball afterward is different because when you have a game to prepare for, there's that fun factor, there's that extra stimulation. So playing after work, you're not in your best optimal form or your best energy, but at least you don't have to think when you're out there. There's like you're just there, you're having fun. Whereas going to the gym, most people don't see that as fun. And so after work, they're like, do I really want to go to the gym? I'm tired. It's a grueling process. So I'll talk about a couple solutions because those who are listening, whether you're a student, being a full-time student, or at some point being a full-time working adult, you will encounter this. First one I would try is going to morning workouts. And that was one of the most difficult but best decisions I made. When I started working, I actually had energy to work out after I got off work. But for me, the biggest change was when I got married, and I could no longer work out after work because I didn't feel right spending all that time by myself. When you're married, you want to make sure you have quality time with your significant other. And so I was either left with either completely eliminating my workouts or only working out once or twice a week. But if I wanted to be in the volleyball shape that I wanted to be, I knew I had to work out 4 or 5 days a week. So I just had to work out in the mornings if I wanted to get it done. And my job started at 8. I would have to I'm a teacher for those who don't know. So I would have to be on campus by 7:30. Now, luckily, well, I tried two ways. The first way was I would go to a 24-hour fitness that was on the way to my job. So I'd have to wake up at around 5:30 and then get to the gym at 6, work out for an hour, go from the gym to school, get there by 7:30, and that was it. So, yeah, waking up at 5:30 is not fun. Uh, that definitely took me some time to get used to. I was so sleepy during the first couple weeks, but once my body was acclimated to working out at that time, it actually became more regular. And over time, I actually started feeling good in the morning workouts. Eventually, I decided to start working out in our campus gym. Even though it's not as good as a 24-hour gym, they just have squat racks, dumbbells, some cable machines, so enough for me to get a good workout. So that allowed me to sleep into around 6 o'clock, so that get to campus at 6:30, work out from 6:30 to 7:30, and then just get my class going right away. But I would say morning workouts has been a game changer because, one, I get to stay in the shape that I want for competitive volleyball and have quality time with my wife and time to do other things. And actually, when I work out in the morning, at least for strength and power workouts, I feel pretty loose and like energized throughout the whole day. You just feel like you get a head start on the day, and it just feels good that I don't have to think about going to the gym because I know majority of the people dread going to the gym, and I don't blame them. I mean, you go to the gym to push yourself to be uncomfortable for growth later, right? It's not like volleyball where as soon as I do something, you get that immediate reward of the fun factor or the point or the cheering with the team. Like lifting weights at the gym, if you think about it, you really are just pushing your body to do very uncomfortable, strenuous things. So most people don't look forward to that. And so if you work out after work, you end up spending a lot of your day dreading. And so that's more mental energy that you're wasting. At least when you do it in the morning, you just get it done and then you feel already productive before your day even starts. Now, I recommend starting off in small quantities. So start off with maybe a 20-minute workout. So instead of let's see, your job is 9 to 5. So instead of working out for an hour, I would just work out from 8 to 8:30, for example, and just get used to waking up a little bit early. I'm not a big fan of drastic changes. I think gradual changes are more sustainable because it's better to show up and do a 30-minute workout in the morning for 3 weeks in a row than to go hardcore hour workouts in the first week and then not do anything the following 2 weeks, right? Consistency over long periods of time is the goal. As you get used to 30-minute workouts and you feel good and it's not as grueling to wake up earlier, then you increase that to 45, and then each week or every other week increase that time to the optimal time. Now, the one downside of working out early is most of the time you're not going to be your nervous system is just not going to be firing at its optimal rate compared to maybe later during the day when your body has time to fully waken up. So I find myself maybe jumping a few inches lower or not lifting as strong as I could, but it's mainly, but I can at least perform at like 95 percentile. Now, that's to me, that's still worth it because I'm still making progress on the volleyball court because I am doing quality hour and a half long workouts consistently in the mornings, and I don't miss it because it's part of my morning routine now, at 95%, and that I'm okay with that. Compared to afternoon workouts where I feel fresh and then I'm able to perform 100%. Um, so it's a little bit give and take. I think the pros of at least getting a lot of 95% capacity workouts consistently is much better than the occasional afternoon workout. And also after work, you don't know what's going to happen. Like maybe there's an emergency, or maybe you got to stay after work longer, or maybe someone needs help. You just never know what's going to interrupt you later during the day, and you can't plan for those things. Whereas if you work out in the morning, almost 100% of the time, first of all, no one's awake. Like the people that you know are probably not going to be awake to even ask you for anything, but it's not going to be interrupted. And I love going to the gym and seeing the people in the morning workouts because those are the people that just want to get in and get the work done. You're usually not going to see those people that just sit on their phones on the squat rack for, do one set every 5 minutes because they're busy on their phones or chatting with their friends. The morning crew is the serious crew. So that's also a really nice inspiration that you are kind of in a class of people that are really set at achieving their goals. So that's a good vibe too. So that's my best suggestion for getting your workouts in. If you have the opportunity, lunchtime workouts generally work out well too for people that don't like to wake up in the morning. But the downside is, well, let's talk about the upside about lunch workouts. You get the opportunity to feel 100% because you've been awake for 5 or 6 hours. You get some caffeine in your body, so that is hitting you, at its full capacity at the time. The energy is good. Maybe you can have a workout partner that's at work or someone. But the downside is that you don't get a lot of time to eat unless you just drink a shake, which is fine, right? You could just have a shake, which is great for controlling your calories. But also, you're confined to whatever your lunch break is. Whereas compared to morning workouts, you can work out as long as you want. You just got to wake up earlier. So those are my two suggestions on how to deal with working as a full-time adult. And, I will add another aspect to think about when it comes to like how to still build your athletic ability and make progress in the gym as a working adult. A lot of times when people think they get injured because of age, whether they're in their late 20s, 30s, or 40s, I guarantee that 90% of the time it's because they sit a lot at their jobs, and prolonged sitting is one of the most damaging things you can do to your body. It's really compressive on your spine. It it's hard to keep your chest open because we're usually looking at a screen, and your hips get really tight because you have that 90-degree angle, so your hip flexor is really shortened for majority of the day. Your hamstrings end up getting tight. So at least if you work in retail, like maybe a clothing store or fast food or something, you're walking, you're being mobile. So that actually is really good for your body. You might feel more tired because you're walking all day, but you're not going to suffer the same injuries like whether if you're waiting tables, or like for me as a teacher, I'm walking around the class a lot. I'm a ceramics and art teacher, so I'm like very engaged with my kids. So we walk around a lot. I'm not sitting too much. But if your job is sitting, one way to make sure you don't end up with these knee and lower back and hip injuries from sitting all day and neck injuries from poor posture is making sure that every 30 minutes or every hour you can set your alarm or some reminders. They have good apps for these to just stand up and reach up to the ceiling, right? Open up your chest, get some thoracic extension. There's some really great doorway stretches. Just reach the top of the doorway and reach forward, or do two 90-degree positions. Stretch that chest, touch your toes, but lengthen your hip flexor. So straighten your butt, squeeze your butt cheeks a little bit, do some jumping jacks. Something, even if it's just for 1 minute every hour, will make a huge difference. Now, it's not going to make you an Olympic athlete, but it will mitigate a lot of these injuries that come from sitting at work and just being in a rigid position majority of the day. So that's also my recommendation if you're a working person. And another way to have more energy too, after work, like let's say the best time or the only time I can work out is after work. Do all your meal prep on the weekends. Anything that anything that allows you to focus more on your workouts after work is going to be optimal. So based on what you wrote, you go home and then you cook and eat and then probably clean, then you feel like, well, it's already 7 o'clock, my stomach's full, do I want to work out? So if you do want to keep working out after your job, this is why I recommend you got to go straight to the gym from your job. Don't go home to change, pack your clothes, and go straight to it, otherwise you're not going to go. And then to make sure you have energy for your workout, I would pack a shake with some carbohydrates and some protein, or bananas and a protein shake. But you do need some simple carbohydrate so you have some energy, and then some proteins, so you can recover as you're working out. And then for your after you get home, the last thing you want to do is spend more energy after workout to cook and clean. So meal prepping is one of the best ways. Uh, you can do something as simple as sandwiches, right? If you just buy bread, meat, lettuce, whatever, cut all that up, prep it, portion it out. So when you come home, you just make a sandwich and enjoy your meal. Or you can cook large batches of chicken or fish, go to Costco and buy in bulk. And then now you have portions every day. And that meal prep only takes 1 or 2 hours on the weekend, but it saves you 30 to 45 minutes every day. And more importantly, it takes away the mental energy and the strain of having to work and then cook and clean and then eat. But planning ahead is critical. Yogurt is also a really good source. Cottage cheese, if you like that after work, those are really good pre-packaged options that will boost, get you some good protein, lots of vitamins and minerals, and keep you full, at a low calorie cost as well. So imagine this, right? You get off of work at 5, you go to the gym at 5:15, you get a solid workout until 6:15 or 6:30. You go home, you heat up your dinner because it's already prepped, and then you finish eating at 7. You only have a dish to clean up, so the cleanup's really easy, and you're on the couch at 8 o'clock, and you get to enjoy the rest of your night, right? So that hopefully will trim down some of the difficulty of trying to manage your workouts and that. But that's a good question. And let's see, your season is probably over for the boys. I'm speaking specifically to John David Rogers because JD has been going on this coaching journey. But coaching and working out is probably even more difficult because when you're working, then you got to go coach. And trust me, it is so hard to work out once you've worked all day, and then you've mentally and socially and emotionally given yourself to these kids for 2 hours and then trying to work. You're just burnt. So that's where I think morning workouts are absolutely critical, or hopefully working out in between work and practices. So it looks like that is the only question from the post. Great question, JD. And we'll have a shorter Q&A session today. If you're listening, make sure you jot down your questions and leave them for me in the comments of the next post, and we'll see you then.